Chapter 286, Complicated Situation. In the shadowless light of the operating room, Fang Hao reviewed the latest virus detection report for the kidney source. He sighed and handed it to Huang Yidao beside him, saying, "Cancel the surgery, wake up Zhang Jun, and wait for a suitable kidney source." Huang Yidao glanced at the report and discovered that it was infected with the HIV virus. Perplexed, he said, "HIV carrier? Can they still donate a kidney? This shouldn't be possible." Yes. Fang Hao was also frustrated, but his mind was clear. Leaving the operating room, he was stopped by Zhang Jing and others who inquired why the surgery ended so quickly. Fang Hao didn't explain directly but took Zhang Jun and Lu Jing to his office to reveal the reason the kidney source had a problem and couldn't be transplanted. HIV virus? Our side's testing shouldn't have issues, and there shouldn't be mistakes during the capital storage. Could there have been an error during transportation? Lu Jing keenly perceived the key point. Organ donation follows a strict procedure, and diseases like HIV, easily detectable, should be tested. Institutions in the capital wouldn't make such a basic mistake. Fang Hao nodded and said, "That's right. This is deliberate. Someone doesn't want our transplant to succeed. Unless Director Zhang intervenes." "Me? Are you talking about Xingling Tian? Can he be so despicable?" Zhang Jing shivered, shocked and angry, and started to think carefully. Fang Hao said, "I'm not sure, but I think now other kidney sources may also be controlled by someone. I'll contact them again." Lu Jing hurriedly made calls, contacting the leaders of the kidney source units they had previously approached. The results confirmed Fang Hao's suspicion those units' targeted kidney sources had just been taken away by someone. She looked at Zhang Jing and said, "Dad, among those who can do this, Xingling Tian is one of them. It might be him." Zhang Jing looked at Fang Hao. Fang Hao knew the truth and said, "Zhang Gu is starting to show signs of renal toxicity. Early kidney replacement is the best way to prevent corresponding complications. I can control the renal toxicity to some extent, but I'm worried that the cells that spread from the liver cancer will take advantage of Zhang Ji's weakened immune system, disrupt the balance, and turn malignant again. If that happens, there's nothing I can do. So, Director Zhang, go find Xingling Tian to save Zhang Gu and preserve the Green Hills." He stood up, glanced outside the door, saw no one, closed the door again, and continued, "I have a piece of insider information. I don't know if it'll be useful to Director Zhang. Yang Wenjin, from our hospital, had some unclear connections with Xingling Tian when they were young." Lu Jing asked, "Isn't Yang Wenjin related to your ex-father-in-law Su Buiyuan?" "That came later. Yang Wenjin got involved with Xingling Tian first and then went to Su Buiyuan. But Zhou Fen took the initiative. Of course, I heard about the relationships of the older generation. Director Zhang, you and Xingling Tian are about the same age. You should know him better." "That's right. Xingling Tian was a playboy. If Yang Wenjin had some connection with him when she was young, it wouldn't be surprising. I'll go find Xingling Tian for the sake of Zhang Gu." Zhang Jing also acted decisively and left. Lu Jing looked at Fang Hao and said, Why is it so complicated?" Fang Hao knew that this was the retaliation hinted by Su Rou. Xingling Tian had never lost to Zhang Jing before, and now that Zhang Jing had gone back, who knew how many compromises he would make? Fang Hao said, "This kind of thing is indeed beyond the scope of a doctor's abilities. It's not about medical skills anymore. I am powerless. Director, now that Director Zhang has stepped in, he will be able to handle these complicated relationships. Don't worry too much. Fang Hao, I won't be able to come to the hospital for some time. The outpatient department and old Zhang will be handed over to you. It's about reproductive protection again." Fang Hao understood. If Zhang Jun hadn't undergone surgery today, Lu Jing might not have been able to be here and would have been isolated from the opposite sex. When Zhang Jun woke up, Fang Hao had to reassure him. Zhang Jun was very frustrated and said directly to Fang Hao, "Brother, I feel hopeless now. If I can exchange half or even most of my wealth for my health, I'm willing. What do you think I'm pursuing?" Fang Hao said, "Director, your sisters-in-law and many others have benefited because of you. And Director Zhang, Aunt, they are all very proud of you. With your efforts, you have directly doubled the wealth accumulated by the Zhang family for a lifetime. You're just low-key, otherwise, you would be the richest man in Jiangdong City, even one of the top 10 richest in the country. In this way, I'm just like those foreigners. I haven't wasted my years, and my whole life and all my energy have been meaningful." Zhang Jun said again, "I haven't done anything for you, brother. last time, you completely saved me. If it weren't for my recklessness, acting too eagerly, I wouldn't have had any problems again. It's just that I really want my own child, to the point that I know they are giving me Viagra, but I can only accept it. Women are like tigers and wolves. Fang Hao sighed, imagining a scene where his sisters-in-law, like wolves and tigers, stared at the weak lamb Zhang Jun, wishing to devour him alive. Oh, they actually did devour him alive. He suddenly thought that, in a way, Zhang Jun and Xingling Tian were not so different. Yeah, women are like tigers and wolves. Oh, brother, I heard from Lu Jing that you got divorced. Now you are single, but don't worry, my group company recruits a large number of graduates every year from all over the country. There will definitely be very beautiful girls. When the time comes, I will ask Akin and the others to pay attention. They will report back to you as soon as possible. As long as you like it, she will be yours. Cough, Zhang Gu, let's not talk about this. Fang Hao left Zhang Jun's ward and went to treat Cheng Lao. Cheng Lao looked at Fang Hao and said, the surgery on Zhang Jun had a problem just now, but it seems it didn't affect you. You really can stay calm. Oh, you know too? Fang Hao said. Director Zhang intervened, and I think he has the ability to solve this. I am just an ordinary doctor. Anything beyond my capabilities, I am powerless. You are indeed powerless, but this is because you started it. You sued Su Hong, and Zhang Jing took the opportunity to intervene, hoping to gain some benefits. Unexpectedly, he encountered an old rival, and the result was that he failed to steal the chicken and lost the rice. Oh, Cheng Lao, I'll ask a question I shouldn't ask. How do you evaluate Director Zhang's old rival? Wise and cunning, but neglects his duties. Playing with fire will eventually lead to self-destruction. Playing with fire and self-destruction. Fang Hao's phone rang, receiving a text message from Su Ro. I have done the paternity test, and I am indeed my parents' daughter. Your words last night were really disgusting. Husband, you are really a despicable person. Chapter 287, Let the ex-father-in-law take action. Lu Jing was protected, and the responsibility of the outpatient department was handed over to Fang Hao. In principle, there was no problem because Fang Hao had served as the deputy director of gynecology and temporarily took charge of the medical work in the gynecology department. Everything was in order, and there were no issues. Everyone in the outpatient department knew that Lu Jing valued Fang Hao, so when Fang Hao temporarily took charge, no one had any objections. On this day, Fang Hao finished his shift at the outpatient department and went to the office where he encountered Zhang Jing. He asked, Director Zhang, is everything settled? The guy named Zheng has too big of an appetite. He wants all the wealth accumulated by my Zhang family over the past 30 years. I can't meet his demands. Zhang Jing looked disheartened. Fang Hao was also shocked. He didn't expect Xingling Tian to ask for the entire 30 years' worth of wealth from the Zhang family. This was equivalent to all the money Zhang Jun had earned. He wondered if the 50 sets of houses given to him by Zhang Jun were also included. It was highly likely. Looking at Zhang Jing, who resembled a defeated rooster, he seemed completely out of sorts, not like someone adept at negotiation. Wait a minute. This old fox is pretending to be pitiful, trying to ask me for something. My kidney is not suitable for Zhang Jun. What does he want from me? Fang Hao said, Director Zhang, is there really no way? There is. Do you remember when I mentioned to you that Su Buiyuan and the guy surnamed Zheng are close friends? If Su Buiyuan steps in, Zheng might reconsider. Zhang Jing stared at Fang Hao, wanting to lower his head to ask for help, but Fang Hao's identity and status made it impossible for him to bow his head. Exactly. Fang Hao said, I can talk to Su Buiyuan, but you have to understand, he has never respected me. I can't guarantee how much influence my words will have. Fang Hao, do what you can. Our Zhang family will be grateful to you. Zhang Jing didn't say much and left. In the evening, Fang Hao took his son to Su Buiyuan's home. After letting his son play inside, he sat with Su Buiyuan in the living room, drinking tea. Fang Hao, did you really go through with the divorce with Xiero? Su Buiyuan already had suspicions but didn't verify them. Unlike Zhou Fun, he didn't directly check with the Civil Affairs Bureau. If it wasn't necessary, he wouldn't interfere in the matters of the children. Yes, it's been a while. Xiero said she would give you and the others some time to adjust. She will be honest with you before the new year. Fang Hao found it amusing. Even though he had divorced Su Ro, he still had to hide it for her. He went straight to the point, saying, a few days ago, I saw a stock, Tianji Pharmaceutical stock. I made some money, borrowed some money from Director Liu, and made a profit. Zhang Jun and the others followed suit and earned a lot. It seems we've offended Xingling Tian. Since you have a good relationship with him, could you persuade him not to trouble Zhang Jun? He now controls the key to Zhang Jun's kidney transplant and has hidden those kidneys. Zhang Jing has already negotiated with Xingling Tian and lost. Su Buiyuan hesitated for a moment, holding the teacup and staring at Fang Hao. How much did you earn? How deeply are you involved? Fang Hao said, I earned about half of the value of a house like this. Zhang Jun and the others invested 200 to 300 million. I stumbled upon it by accident, like a blind cat catching a dead mouse. I'm not good at this. When Zhang Jing asked me if I could help mediate and persuade Xingling Tian not to hoard those kidneys, I agreed. Medical resources should not belong to individuals. Su Buiyuan did not agree immediately but said, Fang Hao, you are different now from before. You never used to ask me for anything. That's right, I used to think you were all good people. But in reality, meanness is the passport of the mean, and nobility is the motto of the noble. Xingling Tian also has an unsightly side. Fang Hao said in a low voice, picked up the teacup, and took a sip. Su Buiyuan seemed to have his sore spot touched, suddenly looking uncomfortable. He knew that he couldn't refuse this favor. He said, I can go talk to Ling Tian. Zhang Jun is younger, and there's no need to make things difficult for him. Wait a minute, you mentioned that Ling Tian has an unsightly side. What is it exactly? I don't know either. I just said it casually. I'll go check on Tian. Fang Hao stopped abruptly and then went upstairs to find his son. After bidding farewell to his son and Su Buiyuan, he suddenly felt something staring at him. He turned around and saw a camera on the roof wall of the villa, staring at him. He asked Su Buiyuan, who followed him, did you install the surveillance? It was installed by Xiao Rou. She said she was worried about us, and she would feel relieved if she could see us. Fang Hao, what you said about Ling Tian just now, is it true? Don't believe it? Then go find out for yourself. Fang Hao stared at the camera for a while and said, Su Rou installed the surveillance, which can take care of you anytime. With the way you are now, what good can come from being close to him as like-minded individuals? After Fang Hao left, he called Zhang Jing and said, I've talked to Su Buiyuan. He should go look for Xingling Tian, and we should have an answer soon. Zhang Jing replied, I am prepared for it. Just after hanging up, Fang Hao received a call from his ex-wife. She directly asked, what are you doing at my house? What did you talk to my dad about? Take a guess. Fang Hao hung up, not bothering to deal with his ex-wife. She sent a message, don't tell my parents about my affairs, otherwise, we'll all go down together. Fang Hao ignored the threat. Who could go down together with him? With his wealth and medical skills, how could his ex-wife drag him down? She's the one left with no dignity. Back in the residential area, Fang Hao vaguely saw a figure moving among the green bushes ahead and quickly hit the brakes. Following that, a person rushed out and fell to the ground. A staged accident? Fang Hao got out of the car, about to speak, when another young couple ran over from the other side. He remembered them, they were the dog food couple in his neighborhood. Apologizing, the young man explained, my dad didn't mean to stage a collision. He's just too excited. The young wife came over to explain the situation to Fang Hao, eyeing him with excitement. You're a doctor, right? I've seen you on TV. You're the head of the obstetrics and gynecology department at the Provincial People's Hospital. Your explanations were so professional and easy to understand. I understood everything. Fang Hao was a bit surprised. Yes, I'm that doctor. I saw your dad was about to come out, luckily I braked in time. His behavior is very dangerous. Fang Hao looked over and saw that the person the young man helped up was an old man with white hair, thin and uncoordinated, probably suffering from some mental illness. In the light of the car, Fang Hao didn't see the face clearly, but it stirred his memory. He had seen this old man before. The young wife, after looking at the child in Fang Hao's car, asked, Dr. Fang, do you live here? Yes, we just moved in not long ago. The young wife asked for Fang Hao's phone number, unit, and room number. After all, it's not a bad thing to know a powerful doctor. Fang Hao wondered, where have I seen this person before, as he watched the young couple help the old man away, deepening his suspicions. Why did he feel like they could be useful to him? Chapter 288, Ex-Wife's Request. On this day, Fang Hao arrived at the hospital and received a call from Su Buiyuan, who informed him that he had already negotiated with Xingling Tian. Zhongling Tian wouldn't trouble Zhang Jun, and if Zhang Jun wanted to change his kidney, a suitable donor would be available today. Because Zhang Jun had indeed manipulated the Tianji stock, Zhang Jing would have to pay a certain price, returning the money he earned. However, the money Fang Hao earned would remain his. Fang Hao had mentally prepared for this outcome. Since Su Buiyuan intervened, Zhongling Tian wouldn't refuse to give face. Moreover, this signaled that if Su Buiyuan couldn't reclaim this face, Zhongling Tian would have to face the risk of having his relationship with Fang Hao exposed. Compared to Su Ro's scandal, Zhang Jun's matter was trivial. Su Buiyuan also requested that Fang Hao stop making a big deal out of his affair with the female assistant. Fang Hao and his daughter had an amicable divorce, and he shouldn't keep bringing up this matter. Fang Hao neither agreed nor disagreed. He didn't like dwelling on this broken affair, but seeking help was like swallowing a bitter pill. After hanging up, Fang Hao called Zhang Jing to convey Su Buiyuan's message and asked Zhang Jing to contact Zhongling Tian. He went to the ward for routine checkups. At noon, an armed helicopter landed, delivering the kidney source. Zhang Jing, with a dark expression, was very unhappy. After examining the kidney source, which was healthy and safe, Fang Hao noticed that Zhang Jing hesitated to sign. He asked, "What's wrong?" Zhang Jing said, "Whose kidney is this, from some death row inmate? Old man Zheng is deliberately humiliating me, giving me the worst to teach me a lesson." Fang Hao learned something from this situation. Indeed, old man Zheng would be disgusting, as he was a pervert. Fang Hao said, "Focus on saving your life for now. We can find a matching one later if needed. Can we really change it later? We can, but there are corresponding risks." Without saying much, Fang Hao urged Zhang Jing to decide quickly. Doctors were often more anxious than patients and their families because many worsened conditions were delayed by patients and their families. After getting Zhang Jing's signature, Fang Hao and his team, including Huang Yidao, started the surgery. The operation was successful as usual. After waking up from anesthesia, Zhang Jun felt like he had awakened from a nightmare. He was full of gratitude and guilt towards Fang Hao. Zhang Jing came to Fang Hao's office and said, "Fang Hao, I need to transfer Jun to the capital for postoperative recovery. This is also one of old man Zheng's conditions. I don't understand why he asked for this, but I have to comply." "Su Ro?" Fang Hao understood and said, "As a family member, you have the right to choose. We doctors will cooperate with your decision." Zhang Jing was surprised that Fang Hao didn't ask why. Fang Hao remained unusually calm, which puzzled him. However, this also met his expectations. He couldn't control Zhongling Tian and didn't want Fang Hao to influence his decisions. Zhang Jing added, "Old man Zheng has another condition. Lu Jing can't stay here either. She will be transferred to Capital Xia Hospital, serving as the deputy director of the emergency department." Lu Jing was about to leave. Fang Hao suddenly felt that this was the critical issue. If no one covered him at the Provincial People's Hospital, he would encounter a lot of trouble, especially after openly confronting Yang Wenjin. The other party would undoubtedly target him even more recklessly. "Is my way out still at the Provincial People's Hospital?" Fang Hao became doubtful and shaken. He nodded and said, "Thank Lu Director for me. Without her care, I wouldn't be where I am today. Fang Hao, you are the most outstanding young doctor I have ever seen in terms of medical skills. Your future is limitless. I will come to you for some touch-ups in the future." Zhang Jing didn't mention the conditions unrelated to Fang Hao and exchanged a few more pleasantries before leaving. "Su Ro, what's the point of playing this game? Did my words that night stimulate you? Do you really think that I can only make money relying on Lu Jing, Zhang Jun, and the others? Even if I started with them, I've already made progress. Can you still drag me back? If you have the ability, go and take Chung Lao away and clear all the patients I've treated. Find someone better than me to cure them. Yes, you've taken Lu Jing away, and now you're appointing Zhou Long, who has no grudge against me, to co-manage the outpatient department. I indeed can't stay in the outpatient department, but the hospital is so big. Can you control every department? Your puppet, Yang Wenjin, does she have that capability?" Shortly after, Fang Hao received a call from Lu Jing. She also expressed her apologies to him. She originally wanted to make a difference at the Provincial People's Hospital with Fang Hao, but now she was forced to leave by Zhang Jing and others. She couldn't take him with her, and she was angry and helpless. This made Fang Hao more understanding. If Lu Jing, who was powerless, felt frustrated, he felt even more helpless. That night, Yang Wenjin arranged for Zhang Jun to be transferred. Moreover, Yang Wenjin also notified Fang Hao by phone that from tomorrow, Zhou Long would take over the outpatient department and be responsible for all aspects of its work. Fang Hao patiently sneered but didn't resist. The next day, he went to the hospital and directly handed over the work to Yang Wenjin and Zhou Long. He said, "Director Liu just entrusted it to me, and I haven't even warmed up yet. Now, I'm handing it over to you intact. If you have any questions, consult Director Liu." Zhou Long said, "The treatment plan for the special outpatient department was proposed by you. Don't push it to Lu Jing." Fang Hao calmly said, "Her work log contains the treatment plan. If you want to take over, I'm more than happy." Yang Wenjin said, "Fang Hao, you're also a doctor at the Provincial People's Hospital. You have to be responsible and fulfill your duties. The patients in the special outpatient department were admitted by you. Except for you, no one understands how to operate your unconventional methods. So, those patients are still under your care. You have to be responsible to the end." Fang Hao nodded with a reluctant expression on his face, but he felt proud inside. Cheng Lao and that pregnant woman were still valuable. Zhou Long added, "In the future, any patients that the special outpatient department admits need my approval. You can't act on your own. Your outpatient department, you make the decisions. If there's nothing else, I'll go." Fang Hao left. He first cleaned up Lu Jing's office and took away her personal belongings. In the afternoon, after completing his rounds and preparing to leave, Yang Wenjin called him again. Yang Wenjin looked at Fang Hao and thought that this little guy was really like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. She handed Fang Hao an appointment letter, saying, "Take a look. If there's no problem, sign it. Appointing me as the temporary deputy director of the inpatient department? In charge of all medical work? Why?" Fang Hao was puzzled. "You don't need to know these things. Just sign it and take up the position." Yang Wenjin thought, "I don't know either. I refuse." Fang Hao said directly, threw the pen aside, and stood up to leave. "Fang Hao, you, stop." Yang Wenjin was surprised, walked forward, and blocked Fang Hao, saying, "Why are you refusing? Why should I accept? I won't do this ass-wiping job." Fang Hao said, "I have no virtue and no ability. I'm incompetent for this role." He counter-questioned, "Yang Wenjin, is the next step to fire me? Then go ahead." After that, he left behind a carefree figure. Chapter 289, True and False. Not long after leaving, Fang Hao received a call from Jianghua. Jianghua wanted to recruit him to the second hospital, offering him the title of associate chief physician, allowing him to engage in clinical research without interference. Fang Hao considered this as a retreat and didn't immediately agree. Soon after, Li Xiaoxi also called, attempting to recruit him to the maternal and child health hospital to oversee a department. Fang Hao similarly didn't agree, bolstering his confidence. It seemed that once you showed some value, there would be places to go. Wait a minute, perhaps the news of Lu Jing being transferred had spread, making people think I can't stay either, so they want to recruit me. Regardless, it's still a recognition of my abilities. At the elevator exit, Huang Yidao was waiting. He and Fang Hao walked aside where there were no people, and he asked directly, "How did Yang Wenjin approach you?" "I just came out of the operating room and heard that Zhou Long is in charge of the outpatient department. I thought you would also be transferred." Fang Hao didn't answer directly and asked, "Do you know about Lu Jing being transferred?" "I heard about it. I asked her, and she said it was arranged by her in-laws, and she had no choice. She asked me to take care of you, but I was too busy and didn't have a chance to leave the operating room. Just now, when I went to find you, I heard that Yang Wenjin called you away." "Oh, Yang Wenjin wants me to take on the role of temporary deputy director of the inpatient department, in charge of medical work. What does that mean?" "I don't know either, so I directly refused." "You refused?" "Yes, I don't want to do this job. Besides, I'm fed up with Yang Wenjin's random assignments. She's a poor commander, wearing out the entire army." After Fang Hao guessed that Yang Wenjin might be related to Zhengling Tian, he had become quite indifferent towards her. "Now that you mention it, I feel the same way. Since I came here, the number of surgeries I've performed has significantly increased. If Yang Wenjin had any foresight, she would have transferred you over, and I wouldn't have to work so hard. It turns out that old woman is blind." Huang Yidao took out a pack of cigarettes, handed one to Fang Hao, lit one for himself, and said, "This blind old woman is causing trouble. She should just leave. I also want her to leave, but she's a cadre at the provincial level. Without an organizational transfer, how could she possibly leave?" But Fang Hao still said, "You're right. Huang Yidao put his arm around Fang Hao's shoulder and said, "Speaking of that old woman, what's her relationship with Zhoulong? Could it be a lover's relationship beyond the hierarchy?" Fang Hao was greatly surprised and asked, "You know? I don't know. Didn't you just tell me?" Huang Yidao chuckled, "I just heard it, and it seems. I told you that, it's obviously." Fang Hao realized that Huang Yidao was no ordinary person from the capital. He knew how to play his cards. Huang Yidao had just arrived, acting as the vanguard, and the big shots behind him would also believe in him. However, making up stories without any basis wasn't convincing enough. He whispered, "Does Yang Wenjin think highly of Zhoulong? Xingling Tian is about the same." "Xingling Tian? The one with several private hospitals?" "Huang Director, if you say that the Provincial People's Hospital is Yang Wenjin's private hospital, it's going too far. I receive a salary from the state. I can prove that the Provincial People's Hospital is still a public hospital." Fang Hao exhaled smoke. "I didn't say." Huang Yidao exhaled smoke and then smiled cunningly, patting Fang Hao's shoulder before leaving. Fang Hao finished work, picked up his son, and went home. At the doorstep, saw his ex-wife Su Ro, who had bought a lot of things. "Jerk, thinking you've won just because you've cleared the path to my side, huh? Coming here to flaunt your strength?" Despite the cold laughter echoing in his mind, on the surface, Fang Hao remained calm as if nothing had happened. He opened the door. Su Ro addressed their son, "Mom has brought so many things, and I'm tired. Let's let Dad carry them. Also, let Dad handle dinner." "Agreed. Dad, you've worked hard." Their son immediately betrayed him, rushing to his mother's side. He took a box of tasty pastries and went inside. This was a trick of his ex-wife, deliberately placing the pastries on the outer layer, ensuring their son would notice them right away. Fang Hao remained silent, brought the things inside, and started preparing dinner. His ex-wife stayed for dinner but didn't clean up. Instead, she left it for Fang Hao to take care of while she went to accompany their son. When it was time, she sent their son to ask Fang Hao for a bath. Watching Fang Hao bathe their son, change his clothes, and put him to sleep, she said, "My dad is a neutral economist. He shouldn't get involved in helping you profit. Leave, don't talk to me. I don't want to see you for an extra second, hear half a word from you, or say half a word to you." Fang Hao opened the door, letting his ex-wife leave. She asked, "What if I don't leave? Then let's see if what you said, the things that make me pay a price, can really make me pay a price." Fang Hao dialed Su Buiyuan's number on speaker. "Are you crazy? I'm leaving." His ex-wife quickly pressed Fang Hao's hand, ending the call, looking at him with resentment and fear before reluctantly leaving. Fang Hao closed and locked the door. Soon after, he received a call from Su Buiyuan, asking why he had called. Fang Hao explained that their son accidentally dialed the number. Later in the night, Zhou Fun, who was in the capital, called. After some hesitation, Fang Hao answered, not rushing to speak. "Is this Fang Hao?" "Yes. Don't you recognize me? Why don't you call me Mom anymore?" "Oh, is that appropriate?" Silence ensued. In an instant, Fang Hao broke the silence, asking, "Why are you still not sleeping so late? Were you out socializing? Drinking? Then you can lie down and wait for the 4 dishes and a soup, with the entire village coming over. Get lost. From so far away, you still want to curse me? I heard that Lu Jing was transferred, and you don't have anyone taking care of you in the hospital. Take a few days off, come to the capital for a visit. The mathematics group here is discussing your information theory. Your information is quite accurate. I have main patients at the hospital, I can't leave. Oh, speaking of the hospital, I have some gossip. Can you enlighten me?" "What gossip?" "About Yang Wenjin. That mediocre woman? What did she do?" "She's going to retire, but since I'm your former son-in-law, she wants to annoy me a bit. I don't like it, so I inquired about her past. Some say she was messed up by Xingling Tian back then. Is it true?" "It's true. That's ancient history. Why are you so curious? Perhaps you think it's a long time ago, but in reality, is there a possibility that back then, she wasn't abandoned but, following Xingling Tian's words, married her current husband, raised children? You and everyone else think she didn't get Xingling Tian and didn't get Professor Su. However, in reality, she was at least juggling 2 relationships, living freely. Do you think Xingling Tian has that charm and capability? Perhaps. Yang Wenjin tried to commit suicide with sleeping pills for Xingling Tian back then, was rescued, suffered from depression for some time, often did some eccentric things. She disappeared for a while, presumably for treatment, and when she returned, her depression had improved. After graduating, she got married. Why are you asking about this? No beating around the bush. I want Yang Wenjin out of the hospital. Oh, bold words. She's the director, and you, a rural laborer, what qualifications do you have? What qualifications? It seemed there was a chance. Fang Hao said, regarding the mathematical problem with a 5 million reward that your math group has anyone solved it? No one. Have you solved it? Later, I'll send you the solution to the first half of the problem. The second half involves a very profound technique. I want to see you kick Yang Wenjin out before I have the time and energy to study it. Fang Hao hung up, a slight smile on his lips. Su Ro, come on, let's play the game of mutual harm. Chapter 290, Former Mother-in-Law Wants to Arrange Blind Dates. Mathematics should be ahead of other natural sciences by 200 years. The true perfection of any scientific field depends on the widespread application of mathematics. Nowadays, with the assistance of advanced technology and research, it seems to have shortened the perfection cycle. The gap between natural sciences and mathematics is not as significant as it used to be, at least not as apparent. From another perspective, it can also be argued that mathematics hasn't made much progress in research. The math problem from the math group is about the physical application of a certain number theory equation. To solve this problem, one needs to delve into several advanced and deep number theory books. For many people, understanding even one of these books in a lifetime would be considered excellent. Fang Hao was forced by Zhou Fen to read one book, and he also read half of another. However, he had a moment of inspiration and naturally deduced the key to solving the problem. In an hour, he wrote 15 sheets of paper, containing half of the solution to the problem, and sent photos of the process to his former mother-in-law before shutting down his phone. Zhou Fen, not being a part of the system, might not be able to overthrow Yang Wenjin. I wasn't sure about that, but as long as Zhou Fen could make Yang Wenjin uncomfortable, I would feel satisfied. Making Yang Wenjin go beg Xingling Tian, preferably in front of Su Ro, would make me even more satisfied. Fang Hao stretched lazily and went to sleep. The next day, he sent his son to kindergarten, then turned on his phone. He found at least 10 missed calls from his former mother-in-law and more than a dozen messages urging him to turn on his phone. Fei Fei also sent him a message, seemingly complaining about the solution he sent, which kept her busy all night, but in reality, she was envious and praising his intelligence. Su Buiyuan also sent a message, asking why he didn't turn on his phone and to quickly contact Zhou Fen as she had urgent matters. Fang Hao naturally didn't reply. He reported to the hospital, went directly to treat Cheng Lao and others, and rejected the arranged clinic and the patients sent over by Zhou Long. At 11 o'clock, someone knocked on the door, disturbing Fang Hao, who was busy working at the desk. He looked up and saw 3 neatly dressed young men in standing collar Zhongshan suits. Dr. Fang, please put down your current work and come with us. One of the young men spoke politely but without room for doubt. Who are you? Where are you taking me? Fang Hao was very cautious. Dr. Fang, we have orders. Please accompany us to the mathematics group. Zhou Fen was back, this was her intention. Fang Hao didn't say much, just left with them. Under the inpatient department, Li Jun was having breakfast. Seeing Fang Hao escorted by 3 capable young men, he quickly approached, watching the 3 men warily. He asked, Dr. Fang, where are you going? Fang Hao knew of Li Jun's presence. After all, he had blocked Qingyu several times. He suddenly wanted to test the quality of these people. He said, ask them. Li Jun became even more vigilant, looking at the 3 men. One of them stepped forward and said to Li Jun in a deep voice, Mathematics Group, brother, what's your unit? Provincial Prosecutor's Office. What are you doing here? Following orders. Why are you taking Dr. Fang to the Mathematics Group? We're also following orders. Li Jun couldn't obstruct them, but he followed them up. Seeing Fang Hao being taken into the gate of the Jiangdong City Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, he waited nearby. He wondered if someone here was also sick? Zhou Fen and a few others were already waiting for Fang Hao. When she saw him, she proudly said to the people around her, this is my son-in-law, Fang Hao. He solved the problem. Yesterday, he was busy, only giving me half of the answer, and then he fell asleep. Today, I asked him to write out the second half of the answer. She waited for Fang Hao to approach and introduced the people around him. They were either professors or researchers, all of them distinguished figures in their fields. Fang Hao received compliments, but he felt uncomfortable. It seemed like Zhou Fen had showcased him. He asked Zhou Fen to step aside and whispered, "You're not in the capital, why did you suddenly come back? If you're back, go deal with Yang Wenjin. Why are you looking for me? Yang Wenjin fired you, and my math group wants to hire you. Isn't that better? Come and focus on solving problems. I'll make sure you get that 5 million later," Zhou Fen said cunningly. The more she looked at Fang Hao, the more she liked him. She hadn't noticed that among those who never studied math in the Zhou and Su families, her son-in-law turned out to be the most outstanding. It was truly a hidden gem. From her perspective, if Fang Hao was indeed dismissed by Yang Wenjin, he wouldn't become a doctor, allowing him to concentrate on mathematical research. "Fang Hao, am I money-minded? In these 4 years, have I ever asked you for a penny? Besides, I have about 30 to 40 million in my account now. Am I short of money? Don't you want to buy a house at Tianji Peak? How is 30 to 40 million enough? Don't you still need to make money? This 5 million, won't you put it to good use? But this 5 million won't be of much use. I told you last night, go make Yang Wenjin leave, and I'll continue working on the rest of the solution." "Fang Hao, why are you so foolish? There are many experts here, they have already learned your method for the first half of the problem. They will deduce the next steps, and that 5 million won't be yours then. I don't care. Yang Wenjin is the head of the institute. If I could dismiss her, I would have done it already. Aren't you making it difficult for me? Professor Zhou, don't be modest. I have patients waiting for treatment at the hospital, I can't be away for too long." Fang Hao was single-minded. If Zhou Fen didn't agree to go bother Yang Wenjin, he wouldn't continue working on the problem. "You country bumpkin. Give me the remaining half of the solution, and then I'll find someone." Zhou Fen was helpless. There were at least 50 more pages of reasoning to go. "You can study it however you like." Fang Hao took his tablet and went to the nearby wireless printer, printed out 10 sheets of answers, and handed them to Zhou Fen. Zhou Fen wanted to grab the tablet, but she knew Fang Hao was smart and must be wary of her. She took the printed sheets and handed them to Feifei. After scanning them, Feifei complained about being busy for 3 more days and insisted that Fang Hao must treat her to a meal. Other professors and researchers also received part of the solution. They could easily connect to Fang Hao's train of thought and went to work. Zhou Fen didn't participate in such intense work. She walked out with Fang Hao, asking, "How is Xiaoro now? Where did she take Jia Jia? She's pregnant with 2 children, can she still take care of Jia Jia? If she and that man take care of the children together, are you willing to let that man take care of your daughter? I don't understand, why don't you fight for your daughter? That Su Rou, the wild seed of Xingling Tian, what would I fight for if I brought her here?" Fang Hao said, "You're bringing up old topics. Su Rou and I will part ways amicably. She walks her own path, and I walk my own, each finding their own peace." "Hey, Fang Hao, what are you going to do next? Find a new partner? I should still be considered young, right?" Zhou Fen was slightly stunned and sighed, "You have a child who is 3 or 4 years old. I thought you were in your 30s or 40s, but you're only 25 or 6. Indeed, you're young. Let me arrange a blind date for you, okay? A blind date arranged by my former mother-in-law?" Fang Hao found it amusing, but he still agreed, "Sure."